Hello and welcome to the Warcraft 3 audio commentary. This is going to be a 1v1 game on the unranked Battle.net servers, and this is going to be me going human and my opponent going undead. And I'm going to do sort of an unusual build order, surprise, surprise. Though I do have done this, and I have done audios, I think, on this in the human mirror match, but in this case, it's going to be me playing against an undead player. Who's going to be going for a Crypt Lord Ghoul opening. And it looked like he wanted to fast expand, and I just sort of ran right at him with the footies to scout, and then with the Pit Lord. And I went 2 barracks in this replay, and I'm just going to mass footies, get defend, and just try to sort of bully him and overwhelm him pretty much from the start of the game, and see how that goes. So one thing about defend footies against undead specifically is if they do go into a more fiend sort of heavy sort of army, defense should be quite strong. And if they go for like the DK first, their burst damage is only really going to be on single targets, right? The DK only really has Death Coil, and then he has like Unholy Aura typically as what is going to go next. It doesn't offer a ton of like burst damage. It's decent burst damage on a single target as you level up Death Coil. The healing is a little bit more, right? If you're going to talk about like the raw numbers, healing with Death Coil is going to get you sort of double the hit points healed. Well, it's going to get you 200 hit points at level 1 healed, or it's going to do 100 damage. Or if you're hitting a hero, it's actually only going to do 70 damage. Goes 70, 140, 210 in terms of the damage at level 1, 2, 3. The healing goes 200, 400, 600. So you can sort of see the difference there, why you may be more incentivized to use it as a heal spell, unless you can for sure kill stuff and also you're sort of beating your opponent, right? Like if you have an edge and they're trying to run or something, or you just have a bigger army, using it as an offensive spell, you're gonna not quite do as much damage as you would heal, but killing units is typically really good, right? So, but anyways, as it is, he did not go for the DK. Actually, he went for the Crypt Lord, which does offer pretty good burst AoE damage from Impale, and it also comes with a stun, right? So this hero actually is probably much better in terms of dealing with my army. Not only does it hit multiple targets and stun them, so the damage can be much higher. You sort of, instead of sort of a versatility of a heal and damage spell and single target damage, you're going to sort of have a higher ceiling if you hit multiple targets, but it's just pure damage, it's not healing. The other thing with Impale that's good for him versus like Death Coil is, again, Death Coil, he can't hit my hero when I pick a Pit Lord. And I actually went Howl of Terror this time, but frequently I just go Cleave right at the start. But Howl of Terror is good. It costs mana, though, and it's only sort of a temporary thing. So it's like, I don't really think there would be a huge difference in terms of these battles. Though specifically against Fiends, I think it's better to have Howl early, because they can sort of split the Fiends more easily to sort of mitigate the cleave damage. But anyways, I come in here, I pull back because I want to Howl his army, but I don't want to Howl the creeps. And I did a good job of positioning that because I didn't actually Howl those 2 creeps. He's gonna, looks like he was trying to maybe go for this round, but the creeps are hitting him. I didn't really plan for that purge to happen. It was fortunate that it did, though, and I sort of tried to go ahead and hit that ghoul, but it's pretty hard to surround ghouls. Without that purge, probably no chance I get this round. Even with the purge, quite unlikely, honestly, for me to get that surround, I think. So, as it is. But anyways, I'm just trailing his army, right? I just want to let him tank the creeps. I don't have like, if I had cleave, I could maybe cleave through and steal some of these creep kills, but I'm just going to be going for killing his units, right? And if I do get a chance, I did try to kill this Ogre Warrior, but I just didn't quite get it. But I do get the Ring of Protection, I think. He goes for the surround, but I block him off with the footies, and then I kill a ghoul. So it's not really, surrounding the pillar actually wasn't probably the greatest thing for him to try to do. It is really the only way he's going to get me off of his side of the map right now. But there is a high likelihood if I play better, this could have gone even worse for him, right? Because I could sort of squeak my way into like this little cubby hole. He did manage to sneak in his units and summon some beetles to block the footy, so I couldn't sort of make a sort of a semi wall and limit the number of units of his that were hitting me. So that was pretty well done on his part. The problem, though, as you see, is I just TP away. I did take a substantial amount of damage, but like I got 152 experience out of that engagement. He only got 128. Now he saved his town portal, granted, but um in this situation, I don't think it's necessarily going to be the most what's the word I'm looking for? It's not really going to be the biggest, that big of a deal that I don't have a town portal because I'm going to be the one mostly massing units, right? So in terms of him showing up at my base, also I think I'm going to get an arcane tower because I've sort of lost track of him for a bit. If he wants to run in here, have militia and I'll have an arcane tower, it's pretty good. So, and I should have more units than him. So, if anything, he's probably going to be pushing into me. So in that case, as long as I'm in decent position, I'm paying attention and everything else, I shouldn't be. I misclicked there. I didn't mean to howl. Obviously, that was pointless. So I basically cost me 70 mana because I'm gonna actually use a clarity potion just because I did that. If I didn't do that, I wasn't gonna get a clarity potion. But because cleave doesn't require mana, right? So howl is 75 and cleave is free. Just a passive, so it's good. But yeah, I'm going to go for cleave as the primary, and this is actually really good against ghouls. This Wand of Lightning Shield is actually also a really strong drop against ghouls and beetles because it's 20 damage a second, and it lasts 10 seconds. And it's, if we're in the middle of a battle and he just sits, he isn't quick to react, right? He has to really see it and just be ready. So just a lot of times there's almost no way he's going to totally, avoid a lot, at least a significant amount of damage. Even if there's like 3 seconds on 3 units, let's say 3 seconds would be 60 damage. If you had 60 damage on 3 units, that's 180 damage. Now it's spread on 3 units, but still, right? And that's you get 2 charges of it. And that's just assuming sort of a quick-ish response and only 3 units, right? There's a chance I have much more than 3 units, and there's a chance he doesn't react quickly and it, maybe hits for another, 4, 5, 6 seconds or something. So we have a battle here engaged. I pulled back the Pit Lord. I play a little cautiously because I have great items in terms of survivability. The problem is, though, he made me burn my TP. So if he just goes for a surround, it wouldn't really be that good because I've got cleave. So I could break out of the surround. So I like, as I point out, I think I played this way too conservatively. Like right here, I should have just kept the Pit Lord in the mix. Just howl and keep him swinging with level 2 cleave. Right, but Howl hits everything for 30% damage reduction at level 1, so quite good. He's got a Claws plus 9, and still the Howl brings him to -1, which means it's -10 on his Crypt Lord. So, you sort of see how strong that can be. But anyways, I'm going to pull back. What I did was I took one footman out of the control group and I pulled all these footmen back, which seems a little bit weird. It's like, why did you do that? The reason I did that is because I have this one lightning shield, and I want this footy to draw all the, basically to be surrounded or close to it. I do that, pop the one to lightning shield, works out really well. I turn around and fight, and look at the value. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 probably lasted 5 seconds or something. I don't know. 7 times 20 is 140 damage a second. That's crazy. Crazy. 7 times 4 seconds. Or 100, sorry, what did I say? 140 times 4 seconds. It's like, 560 damage. And then I get another charge. Say that's why I'm the champ. Go here. I checked his items. I saw the sacrificial skull when he was over here. So I knew this was a, when you see somebody going for a Crypt Lord or a Dread Lord, sometimes people do it with a DK Roulette. You can fast expand, right? They've made it a little bit cheaper. You don't even need a graveyard to get a sacrificial skull, which actually is quite important in the timing and sort of the requirements for doing this type of a strategy, right? If you're going to expand before and get those fast towers, you would actually have to get a graveyard, or you just wouldn't be able to get them nearly as quickly, right? So drop another one of Lightning Shield. I actually hit one of my own footies there for a bit. So that's actually, is that hitting him? It didn't look like it was hitting him. What? That's interesting. But anyways, did a fair bit of damage on him. cancel the Expo, cancel the Ziggurat, gonna cancel it again. I'm not gonna let him get this Expo. He doesn't have the army to sort of hold this. He's gonna be going for a DK second. This is pretty common when you go for a Crypt Lord. I actually like to go for either a Panda or a Lich second, or against human, maybe even a Dreadlord, for in case of like mechanical armies or something, maybe be okay. And then Vampiric Gore actually with Beetles, Ghouls, and the Crypt Lord is pretty solid as well. So, but there's all kinds of considerations, pros and cons. Obviously, if your Crypt Lord's about to die, you would like to have a DK come up and heal. He's going to make a massive blunder. He's going to get his DK out in time to save this level 4 Crypt Lord. Like, he's out right now, and he's going to be in range of Death Coil, but for some reason, even though he's got like his 250 APM, for some reason he just is not going to do it. Is he close enough? Yeah, look, he got so close he wasn't even raising his arm. So he could have done it like from here to there, right? So see a massive drop. He shouldn't have lost that hero. So yeah, the game is pretty much over. I'm on cruise control now. I could actually, like, once I bust this Expo all the way down, he just taverned back his hero, which I wouldn't really recommend because it's lumber. he needed that lumber to build. Like, he's taking to tier 3. He needs a slaughterhouse or a temple. Really, the slaughterhouse is what you generally go for. He needs something from his tech to pay off, and he just isn't. He's, instead of like, I mean, getting this hero back quick is something, and I'm probably just gonna potentially thought I was just gonna run to his base next, and he needs that hero, I guess. So, but he also needs the lumber, so it's like, did he have time to get the level 4 hero back and hold his base? It might have been close. It might have been iffy. Maybe he throws up some towers in the meantime, and he saves the gold and the lumber. It was really the lumber that hurts him. And then he makes another mistake. He TPs to this Expo. He has already teched to tier 2, so he double clicks. I think he actually goes to this. So he actually chose to TP here, it seems like. And I just surround him again. It's like, okay, I'll surround you again, and you lose him again. He can't afford this. He's going to give me level 5. Just boom, level 5, And also I got this Expo, which I threw up, before I counterattacked his Expo attempt. So yeah, what can you really do now? These items are pretty good. You like to see damage items on a Cleaving Pit Lord, because if they don't, like, especially if they don't have a big enough army to really threaten them, it's like, well, you don't really need this to survive. He's already just going to be, his hit points are already good, so he actually taverned him back twice. Oof, that is costly, bro. But yeah, you're not really likely to lose him anyways, especially if he's like, he doesn't have a lot of single target focus. He can't death coil him because he's undead anyway. He doesn't have a lich. He's got impale, so But on the flip side, though, if they are going to focus him eventually, right? I mean, it helps him stay in there and swing longer potentially. Right, so yeah, if they're not focusing him, the damage items are way better. But if they are focusing him, the armor and the hit points. So it's it's not that you don't get any value out of this stuff. It's just that in a lot of circumstances, it's not gonna be those aren't the ideal items, right? Which it happens. It is what it is. The enemy is actually he got a clause +9, as I pointed out. He's gonna get a clause +12, and that sounds really goofy because, like, wow, you just dominate him. Why? How is he getting a clause +12? The reason is because I'm just sort of goofing off at this point. You notice I'm massing tier 1 still with the one here. I'm barracks. I'm just massing like whatever, Like I said, I literally could just run into his base right now and probably smash him, but I'm like, okay, you want to sit here and do this? I'll just creep up. And I didn't really get any experience creeping that, so another arguable mistake. I should have grabbed some tavern here or something, and then given him all that experience, so that way I can actually get like a level 3. It won't take me long to get like a level 3 hero, and then it's like, don't know. But I'm gonna throw an Expo up at his. Let's see, did he scout it? He's gonna scout that eventually, but. Anyways, we have an engagement here. He impales. It's okay impale, but and I don't have sustain, right? So it's like, well, if he can sit here and kite me down, but he's only going to be able to throw like one Nova, and he already threw his impale at me. He's got one death coil and tank, and his army is like literally like 2 fiends and 2 statues. Does he have the destroyer upgrade? He is halfway done with the destroyer upgrade, but I got rifles now, and now I'm going to go ahead and grab the alchemist. I grabbed the second hero, but I'm going to actually mess up and not give him all the experience of this creep camp. And that's a mistake because the Pit Lord is already 5. Even if the Pit Lord is level 4, the efficiency is better. You get penalized as your hero levels for creeping. And the biggest penalty is that once you get to 5, you get literally 0 experience from creeping. But yes, I'm looking at these items. I'm like, oh, there's a belt. There's going to be a ring. How about the ring on the Alchemist? So now he's got +2 rings, +3, and the Lion Horn of Stormwind. Pit Lord's rolling around with a health stone, and yeah, +9's not terrible, but it's still. There were literally 0 claws in that marketplace every time I checked. I checked like 3 times throughout the game, so it's like, why is he getting all these claws and I can't get one? I did get a Gloves of Haste, though. So, Gloves of Haste and a belt. Pretty decent. You know, would have loved to get one more claws there, but it is what it is. So, I'm going to come in here with the rifles on the left. They're pretty much full health. I need to split them because he does have some decent AoE. I try to split him. I do an okay job. He hits about half of them, I guess, there. So, I had some militia running up there. And I'm A-clicking, right? I could have surrounded his DK multiple times here. I don't even really try to. I'm just A-clicking. I think I'm like getting these militia into position. The priority should be on the actual army, but it's like, whatever. Like, this is a win more sort of trollish thing. Like, I don't need this. I didn't need to do that. I don't need to do this right now when there's a battle going on, or when there's, he's trying to run. He ran his DK away. He managed to, not lose his DK. But it is what it, I want to get level. I want to get Doom, right, or Oblivion, or whatever it is. The ultimate of the Pit Lord. Ooh, he loses another statue. I think I told him I canceled his expo and said, I didn't give you permission to do that, or Daddy Brutalist or something. So, that was sort of an homage to my friend Jake. He used to say that a lot when people were expoing and he would, attack it. He would say, oh, did you ask Daddy for permission or something? Pretty good troll. Do I kill this destroyer? Oh my gosh, that destroyer like 15 health. Oof. He did TP away without getting the Legion Doomhorn. So there was a TP and a Legion Doomhorn in there for me. I don't know if I killed any fiends. Looks like I didn't. Maybe I killed some of the creeps. I don't even know if I got that. But anyways, these burns a TP. I'm expanding up here. Towered it already. Just whatever. Go back to the marketplace. Still no claws. I don't even think there was any Gloves of Haste there. So that's annoying. Now, I don't know, right? But I have a strong suspicion the way this battle is going to go. It's kind of funny to see this level 2 hero with nearly 1,000 health and 9.5 armor. But, so I'm going to pick up, I'm actually going to sell one of these rings, I think. And I'm going to pick up a Staff of Sanctuary on the Alchemist specifically. Because the way I think this battle is likely to go, in a way I'm going to sort of try to steer the battle into going, is I want to get this Pit Lord with a health stone and 1,275 health. I want to make this his primary target because he's going to be cleaving everything close to him, which should maximize the damage a bit. I want to maximize the howl damage reduction. He's got the most hit points out of everything in my army, and I can just Staff of Sanctuary him. As long as I staff him out before he gets killed, it should be it should be great, right? So then he puts all of his damage or most of his damage on the Pit Lord. I maybe let him get to 200 health or something like that. So they basically do you think they do 1,000, but the problem is the most of his army is piercing and magic damage. Fiends and destroyers are gonna do only half damage to the hero, 50%. Which means that they have to do however much damage you want them to do the hero. You're gonna have to double it, right? Because of the damage reduction, right? So, and then the heroes, the spells going at the Pit Lord are going to be reduced by 30% as well. So, significant damage reduction. The hero has a health stone, so there's another 500 health that I pop him, And it's not just 500 health because it's hero armor. Plus, it's also devotional, right? It gives you a little bit more damage reduction. So, you're looking at, 5.5 armor, 26% damage reduction. The hero armor, reducing spell damage and piercing damage and magic damage by significant, 30 and 50% respectively. And then you sort of look at this 500 health and you apply the damage reduction to this. So the effective hit points of this Pit Lord, when you account for all that stuff in this Healthstone, is like probably like 2,500 damage that he can soak without really being in any serious danger. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And that's basically what's going to happen, because I'm going to run him sort of out to the front. He wants to kill this Pit Lord. He was like, ooh, man, this Pit Lord, I don't want him getting level 6. And I don't want to just ignore him swinging for... I'm going to sell some items and get some... Well, I can't get claws. Let me just get 2 orbs of fire. So I got plus 20 on this Joker now. So he's basically doing like 65 damage on average a swing. Gloves of Haste, he's attack speed fast. And he's got level 3 cleave. So 90% of that damage, what did I say, 65 on average. 90% of 65 is like, it's nearly 60. It's like 59, I think, or something. So we'll just say 60. 60 multiplied, we'll see how crazy this is going to look. I go in, I pull back, because I want to have the Pit Lord. I should have maybe just let the other stuff be in the front, too, because, like, some of the other stuff soaking, like, a little bit of the damage at first, and then the Pit Lord. See, he's already taken, like, 400 damage right at the start. So I'm like, okay, boom. The Lich is, like, in the center. I'm focusing the Lich, actually. Lich is a low hit point type of thing. No health items on it. Howl hitting a lot of the stuff, minus 12 on these fiends. Minus, it's hard to say how much it's minus on the Lich, because he's got all these damage items, but 12, 9, 21. 21 plus 16. Oh, no, not 20. Not only 21, sorry. 26. So, yeah, 10 minus 10 damage on the Lich. Is that right? Yeah, that sounds right, I guess. Swing. Look at this. It's monstrous damage. Look at these fiends. Oof. Oh man, there's not a really good single target heal as a human player. He got to 100. I mean, we could have swung one more time, but it was getting really close, right? So like, let me be careful. I don't want to land. One more Nova would basically get me, so probably so. Go in there and look at the rest of my army. These rifles are untouched. These Dragon Hogs, I don't even know if he has web, right? So the Dragon Hogs, I never see him web them, so I'm not actually sure. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, I don't know. But these footies, they're 3/3 with defend. Once the destroyers are out of the picture, right, these footies really are only going to need to worry about Nova. It's only level 1 Nova. Impale, well, he's got some Impales running, but he doesn't have his statues, no statues to heal this up. So, that was a terrible Impale. Yeah, he's going to kill this footy. Excuse me, maybe he's going to kill this rifle, but excuse me. But he has to get max value out of these. Like, even if he hits my entire army with that Impale, though, I mean, it's still over, right? The game is still looking at him taking this expo down at the bottom right. He's being sort of cheeky and, haunting the gold mine. But once these towers get up, it's like, what you gonna do, bro? What you gonna do, bro? Now, staffing this Pit Lord with, 1,200 health, the staff heals, I think, 15 health a second. Whew, so when you talk about, 1,000 health, you're talking about, over a minute. Probably... 70 seconds, maybe 70 seconds or something. I don't know, but it's definitely over a minute that it's got to be sitting there healing. So I'm gonna go creep. I don't have a TP on this on the Alchemist. The Pit Lord had the TP, so if I had an Invul potion, that would have been really clutch right there. If I just put the TP on the Alchemist and had an Invul potion on that Pit Lord, I could have let the Pit Lord get to down low, and then boom, pop the Invul potion, or popped it, way early, and then, had him going, and then, when the Invul wore off, and like, ooh, I'll focus, and I had the health stone. There's all kinds of ways I could have done it, but one Invo Potion would have basically just ended the game right up here, honestly, right? Because that Invo Potion alone would have guaranteed me so much more damage from that Pit Lord. Like, what is it, like 7 seconds? Yeah, 7 seconds of invincibility on a hero that's swinging for 90% splash damage, and he does like 65 damage. So you're talking about 60 damage splash on a hero that's attacking quick, right, fast. That's, like I said, his army was on the brink of just getting demolished, right? He's managed to heal up a fair bit actually without a statue, which is interesting. I guess that's just he's got a heal scroll. I don't know if he used another heal scroll, but or what he did, or if it was just the region of the level. It's only level 1. I don't know, but anyways, TPN. They got to get the Pit Lord into position. The Pit Lord needs to be swinging. That's his big thing. If he's cleave first, he's got to be swinging to get that value. Swing, just hit something that's going to let you get some good splash. And it ignores armor, which is great, right? It's like, oh, you got 4 armor on your hero, you got 100 armor on your hero. I can cleave right through it. It doesn't matter. So get level 6, Doom. I'll say something about good game, bad manners. That's fair, I guess. I didn't really ever personally insult him. I just made some trolly comments, and he got all upset about it. So partially because he was losing, I think, as it goes. It turns out our cripple does not last very long on heroes. It costs 175 mana. So I used cripple, stomp, cripple. These units were at a certain point they were literally just AFK over there. Now they have defend on. So again, it looks really stupid, but like he can't beat me. I'm just like I can just swing. He's got no expo. I've got 2. Sorry, I got 3 expo. Oh no, 2. This one's out of gold. So yeah, I've taken 3 out of the 4 expos. His mind's run out too, so it's like, what are you thinking, bro? What are we gonna do here? You got 4 fiends. So yeah, well played but unmannered. That's fair, I guess. I mean, it's like I said, I wasn't calling him names. I don't think. I asked him if he couldn't read at one point. That was sort of implying maybe an insult, but it was more just because he said he wasn't reading my stuff. So I don't really think that was. You might consider that insulting, but I mean, yeah, it was a joke, right? It wasn't like literally like you can't read or something. But and then the belt of giant strength, we'll call that the Pit Lord's championship belt. He was running around with that belt like he's the champ. I think that's pretty appropriate to go with the chat. So thanks game for random rolling the belt of giant strength for the item. It could have definitely been other. I feel like I don't know if it's the item tier that shows up in the marketplace or the actual items. I don't recall seeing a belt of giant strength dropped. So I think it's the item tier. I think like it opens up when you creep, it opens up those item tiers. The fact that no claws ever went in there was just like, I'm like, come on, bro, give me some claws. But maybe it's like the more of a certain kind of item tier you creep, the more likely those are. I'm not 100% sure, right? But anyways, though, yeah, that's how marketplace maps are generally, if you're gonna go, they allow you to, if heroes benefit from certain kinds of items, like maybe really any hero you can sort of customize the items, right? If you want claws or gloves or whatever you're trying to do, a marketplace does give you make it easier generally to do that at the cost of gold, right? But I mean, the claws are generally actually pretty cheap. Like I think it's like 125 for claws plus 5 or something. Is it plus 5? It used to be plus 6. I feel like they cut it down to 5. Maybe. But but anyways though, like I said, the game was pretty funny. That particular strategy, I haven't really done it a ton against undead. I've gone sort of footy mass a fair bit against undead, trying to find some timings. Not really. I feel like Cripplord is an interesting sort of counter to the type of strategy that I like to do, but he just didn't execute it very well, right? I think instead of trying to, go for that expo after I sort of basically scouted it ahead of time, essentially, he maybe doesn't assume that I checked his items, so he's like, well, maybe he doesn't know I'm going to expand, but like, if he sees that I don't know if he saw that I went 2 barracks, but he needs to see if I'm playing that aggressively. It's going to be quite challenging for him to hold an expo if I play properly, right? Because, Howl and Cleave are both really strong early against a mass of ghouls, and the more I level and the more ghouls you have against Cleave, the more value I get out of it. And I'm massing footies, so ghouls are not a counter to footies. They actually have worse stats. The other problem though is for fiends are not exactly a counter to footies either. Really, what you need to do to beat a footy mass strategy is to do what's more standard for undead anyway, is to go into a fast tech type of build, play one base, go for that in power spike at tier 3, statues, 3 heroes, tri-hero, probably either a Dark Ranger or, you could go Dark Ranger, Crypt Lord, I don't know about Naga. There's a lot of options he can have for his third hero. I think Naga has an AoE ability, and Frost Air is okay too. You don't really need silence against a Pit Lord, so I don't know. I mean, the value of the Dark Ranger is killing footies and churning skeletons. If that's what if I'm still massing footies or whatever. So the fact that you can't silence isn't the. I mean, you can heal the Dark Ranger with Death Coil, and Dark Arrow is really strong. So in that scenario, so that's where the value comes from. So Dark Ranger is still a decent pick there as well, I think, but I would more be leaning towards, maybe Panda or Pit Lord or Dreadlord or Crypt Lord third if you go like DK Ledge. Because Impale or Carrion Swarm or Fork Lightning, or Cleave and Howl, these type of things, and also the ability to heal the Pit Lord, right? The Panda you can't heal with Death Coil, which kind of sucks. You're getting a lot of burst damage for the Pit Lord, or sorry, from the Panda, but you can't heal him with Death Coil, so it's like, But you also can hit mechanical stuff. Cleave doesn't hit air units unless they're webbed, maybe, but you're human, so that doesn't matter. Howl hits mechanical stuff, so Howl can be pretty decent against, let's say, flying machines or tanks. But again, if you're against mass footies, like I said, what you really need are some destroyers on the field, tri-hero, or just kite them relentlessly, right? And then with a Pit Lord, and then maybe nothing else, or maybe an Alchemist, or whatever it is I pick, how much catch do I really have? Not very much, without Stormbolt, slow, and even if I had slow at some point, destroyers just to spell it, no big deal. So you just kite. If I want to run into your base, you just fight on the blight, fight in the towers, and if you can't win there, chances are you're gonna lose. You lost the game in some other way. It's not really unit choice or something. I mean, it's some other reason that you lost. It's not because you went one base, right? Unless I go 2 base and you don't do anything to like slow it down or stop it, right? But even if I do go 2 base, if your timing is clean and quick for the tech, the problem with 2 base against 2 base human against 1 base undead is I have to be able to survive that push, that tier 3 power spike. Because if I don't, what happens and what's happened to me before in these strategies, you have a ton of footies and it's like, ooh, I need something for the destroyers. Not only do I need something for the destroyers, like some rifles or some fly machines, the problem is I need to, like I said, the catch is the problem. If he's kiting me relentlessly, and it might not matter that I have, like, let's say 5 riflemen. If he just keeps the destroyers away from the riflemen, they're flying, they can go over trees. He's got an unholy aura. Maybe don't. I did in this game because of the item drop. Sort of a mistake on his part, but that's sort of just a random, not exactly random, but it's a less likely, it's very unlikely actually, that I'm just gonna get that, right. So it's possible, but again, it's not super likely. But anyways, that's the issue. Like, he in that power spike, right? He's gonna have the move speed, should be to his advantage. Based on my sort of general, what I said my strategy consisted of, which is a whole bunch of footies and stuff. My catch is very weak, basically non-existent, unless I get Stormbolt, or get surrounds. Right? I have to sort of manually get surrounds against an army that maybe is faster than me because of the aura. Also, he can get Burrow. If he gets Burrow, well, all of a sudden I need Dust of Appearance or I need a Flying Machine. And again, that should be sort of in my head if I see Burrow or if he's massing fiends. Yeah, maybe think about having that ready before. You don't want to fight a battle with no means to detect stuff, because that is how he gets a lot of value out of Burrow. But anyways, like I said, what happens with the Power Spike is he starts, knocking off your footage really quick. And now his heroes are strong. He's got good sustain with the statues. Fiends and a couple of destroyers and Tri-Hero can with statue sustain can push through towers, right? And then unless I have something like maybe 8 towers, which I don't generally like to do, but if I do have 8 towers, well, now he just smashes my army and he's got map control. So maybe my expo can hold up. Do I have 8 towers in my main? If I don't, well, he just goes to the main, right? If I do, I probably have no army, right? So then he just goes and creeps whatever and counter expands. And he just creeps the whole map. And now his heroes are crazy strong, and he's ahead in tech probably. So what kind of units am I going to build? Now I can sort of counter destroyers with flying machines, and that's a tier 2 unit, which sounds appealing. But the problem is he's not generally mass destroyers. I have to get so many flying machines because I also have to push through web probably. He's going to web a bunch of the flying machines, and then he's just going to kite. So not only do I need enough flying machines to beat the destroyers heads up, to kill them, not just sort of do a little bit well against them, but actually have to kill them, because if he just kites and pulls back and heals them, I don't get anything. And he's killing flying machines, or he's killing footmen, or he's killing something, right? He can focus and kill stuff and pull back, and there's not really much I can do about it, especially with like a Pit Lord. Alchemist heals okay, but it's it's not gonna totally save me. Level 1 or 2 heal spray alone is not gonna be like, oh well, Nova Impale Coil or whatever it is. Oh, that doesn't matter. Oh, Destroyer focus. Oh, the Orb focus. He's gonna get kills, right? So I need to be trading, right? And if I'm not doing that efficiently, he's gonna just be churning hero levels. He's gonna be cranking those heroes up. And then all of a sudden his heroes are just so strong that I can't kill them. And his army, maybe I can squeeze off some kills one here and there, but without catch, he just kites, keeps doing the same thing. He just keeps doing the same thing, keeps my army. I've got more gold than, maybe I've mined more gold than him, but I haven't been able to leverage it into an overwhelming army to force a fight and to trade efficiently. And then it doesn't matter that I get more gold, I build more units, because he doesn't just take a standing battle and just a-click into it. A smart player, even an average player with that strategy, if they're aware of how to play it, they're going to realize, oh, well, this guy, if let's say I get 80 food and he's sitting at 50 or something, or even 60 or whatever, he's going to be like, oh, I'm 10 food down, I'm 20 food, it looks like I'm down in army. Well, okay, but my heroes, I've got Coiled Nova Impale, or I've got Impale Coil, whatever it is he's got. I've got these nuke spells. I've got range. I've got the orb. I can engage, throw my damage at him, pick off a unit here and there, pull back. Oh, he doesn't have that Stormbolt. Oh, well, I'm not really worried about, doing that over and over and over again, because he's not going to have the single target focus to kill me. Same with Cleave. You can get a ton of value for Cleave if they let you fight. Right, if they stand there and let you smack, attack on a unit, and there's clusters of other units and heroes behind it, yeah, that you're gonna get the value actually starts to look insane. But the problem is you have to get into melee range. You have to not be stunned or stopped up somehow with sleep or whatever it is, and they have to sit there and fight you. But the undead, if he's smart, like I say, even if he's just sort of average competence, he's gonna be like, oh, I'm taking too much damage. His army's too big. His Pit Lord's doing tons of damage. What am I going to do? Well, it's very intuitive what you're going to do. You're not going to sit there and get smacked over and over and over again. You're just going to, you can take a couple of, you can take a fight for a little bit and pull back. You don't even have to TP if I don't have a means to sort of punish you for just backing up. And you just do that over and over and over again, and then your heroes are just absolutely crazy. High level Coil, high level Nova, high level Impale, or Carrion Swarm, or Breath of Fire, or Cleave, or arrows. And then maybe the army size is, he whittles me down. Maybe he was 20 food down, maybe he's only 10 food down now, and then he whittles me down. Maybe it's a 5 food difference. and then, or maybe it's 10 food, but he's gained 2 levels or something on his hero. So now his heroes, he's got like a level 3 Lich or a level, 5 Crypt Lord or DK or whatever it is. And now it's like, well, okay, he's got a 10 food edge, but my heroes are crazy strong. And I've got full, maybe he's got full mana or he's full health and I'm not because of the statues or something. And it's like, okay, well now I can sit here and take a battle. I don't have to take a battle until I start losing everything. I can take a battle and choose when to run, choose where to run, choose when to TP if I need to, or choose what to focus single target. If every engagement we have, he's actually getting kills, the undead player, and the human player isn't, well, you're just feeding him basically. At a certain point, you don't get experience or you don't really get lasting benefits. It's more of a temporary benefit to do damage, but not get a kill, right? So that's the problem against undead. And then if you want to push into their base, it's hard to fight them in their base. Even with a 10 or 20 foot advantage, they can dance around and kite you from in their base. They've got probably a shop in their base, so Rod of Necromancy is on the table. More health potions, more mana potions, Nerubian Tower, Black Citadel, or Halls of the Dead, depending on the timing. Heal scrolls, depending on the tech. Their units are coming out there. They perhaps have 3 or 4 lumber ghouls they can pull. They're sitting on blight. It's often very ill-advised to do that, right? So you have to play it smart, and you need to sort of complement like the fact that there's absolutely no catch in an army. That's a little bit of a mistake generally, right? It's not that you can never win that way, but if you're going to do that, you need to do things like pick your battles wisely, go for surrounds. Positioning is very important. And yeah, so that's the ins and outs of, those are sort of more general rules, but specifically with this strategy, you're on a timer, right? The more footage you get and the more you delay your tank and the more time you give the opponent as an undead player to tank, the more you run the risk of, not having the destroyers, not being prepared for the destroyers, right? Because 1 or 2 destroyers against footies, pretty strong. 1 frostworm, without the that's why I made a couple of Dragonhawks for just aerial shackles. Now we could get web, so 1 or 2 Dragonhawks is not like, oh, his frostworm's never going to do anything, but it forces him to get web. If he goes to destroyers and he doesn't get web, or he does get web, it's piercing damage from the Dragonhawks. They share the upgrades of they share the attack upgrades of the footmen. So the footmen were 3/3. The Dragonhawk's going to be 3/0 at least. So you can get Cloud. So if they do get any number of towers, Cloud is pretty good. Cloud from long range is absolutely nuts as an ability. I don't think the range or the area should be as big as it is. I mean, it's a tier 3 upgrade on a unit that's sort of niche. So it's like, well, I mean, if you are relying on towers at that point in the game, you've made the mistake. But it's like, other races don't just have that. You could say that if other races had something that strong against towers, you could say the same, but they don't. Nobody really has anything that strong against towers, right? Like the Frostworm ability, you have to like literally be in tower range to hit with a Frostworm. And then it's a very small coverage, right? It doesn't freeze as much as like Cloud covers, right? So it's like, and then the area and the range, like I said, is worse. Cloud is way better than the Frostworm's attack range, though the Frost Breath upgrade is way more expensive to get. You have to get it on a building that you can only start constructing in tier 3. And this is a 7 food unit that cost an absolute chunk of gold and lumber compared to a Dragonhawk, which is only 3 food, I think 200 gold, a small amount of lumber, and you can build a Griffin Aviary, and you can start building the Dragonhawks in tier 2. So the timing is actually way better for the Dragonhawks too. Everything about that in terms of countering towers is stupid efficient against towers. Like 1 or 2 dragon, you really only need 1 because you can literally like hide it over the trees and stuff. So frequently, literally 1 Dragonhawk can do the job. But if you got 2 or 3, I mean they're gonna struggle. Can they kill 2 or 3 Dragonhawks? And then it's like, well, if they have done that, like I said, as a human, it's probably messed up somewhere. But anyways, it's like it's just the efficiency, and they already have defend, tanks, mortar. They have a lot of the similar like type long range siege and the mortars. Defend early. It's a tier one. I mean, it's just they have all kinds of tools. They have Blizzard or Flame Strike or whatever. It's like, do they need Cloud? It's fine. I don't really care about it. It doesn't really mess me up too much because I don't frequently make a million towers anyway. So I don't. Like I said, the timing and stuff. It's just that some strategies in some races they do get in this scenario where it's like, wow, this person is just massing towers, and as soon as they get all these towers up, it literally prolongs the game, and it makes it way harder for me to even to make any kind of progress against them. It's like, oh, I've got two, what I need to make meat wagons. Oh, they just sniped the meat wagons with like a blade master with an invulnerability potion. It's like, what the heck, bro? What am I supposed to do here? It's so easy for them to kill them, and it's so hard for me to like do anything else against the towers. Like at a certain point, right? Like literally, 8 towers with fortified armor. It's like, you know, with fiends, with destroyers, with a bombs, with ghouls, with gargs. I mean, literally anything but maybe necro wagon. And if they have the counter to necromancers, I'm not gonna even think about necro wagon. So it's like, you could say maybe I have to threaten Necrowagon and then just go something else and just counter. I don't know. There's a million things you could say, but anyways, it's off on a tangent. I thought this game was pretty fun. The Pit Lord strategy. I'm definitely gonna, I'm probably gonna try this more against Undead just to see. I've done it with a Mountain King a fair bit, trying to just, get level 3, run in and kill their haunted gold mine. And I had a fair bit of success with that against what seemed like a more standard, like early DK, early tech type of, tier 3 power spike type of, you know, strategy, sort of late fiends into statues and destroyers and tri-hero. If I had the right timing and, everything else was sort of reasonably close, reasonably even, right? Defend, heal scrolls, level 2 bolt, running in there. He struggles because he's putting a lot of resources into the tech and everything. If he gets a statue, statue doesn't really offer a whole bunch of DPS against all these footies. It offers sustain, but if I'm literally just running in, diving your acolytes and diving your, once the acolytes are dead or running away, trying to kill your haunted gold mine, and I've got defend up, I'm not even really focusing the fiends. Yeah, the reflected attacks will hit the fiends, so the statue you'll be getting some value out of a statue, but the ability to actually save your haunted gold mine, it's it is sort of, that's the game. Do you have enough DPS to prevent me from destroying your haunted gold mine? And if you don't, do you at least have enough damage to punish me for trying to do it? So the next time I try to do it, I have a smaller army, and now your heroes are strong, and now you can, once again, maybe you can save it this time, or maybe you just kill the units and you have enough resources to rebuild it, right? But you really can't afford to. Frequently, it takes a lot of footy kills to sort of compensate for that, right? Like losing the haunted gold mine and losing potentially, 4 or 5 acolytes. I mean, if you lose all 5 acolytes in the haunted gold mine, it is a real stretch because you got to build another 75 gold for an acolyte. Then you got to build the haunted gold mine. Then you got to build 4 more acolytes to get back to full mining capacity. And then you also got to hope I'm not get right back in there and kill, cancel it or something. I mean, canceling it gives you some of the 50% of the resources back in some sense, right? It gives you a chunk of the resources back. So, if you're just literally sitting there waiting, and you can block up the holes and stop me from canceling, or you let me run in there and cancel it, but I lose 80% of my footies. And if I'm on one base, it's sort of this war of attrition, right? Who's making the better trades, right? And some people are going to react poorly to that. Some people are going to be lumber. For whatever reason, their lumber may be a little bit stressed or not. I don't know if it's better to try to kill a couple of ghouls when you do that. I like to kill the acolytes so they can't repair, because really the main goal is to knock the haunted gold mine down. And killing it, they have to rebuild it it costs a lot of lumber, so killing it specifically will be a lumber issue. Um, so yeah, it's a game of positioning, timing, creeping, and everything, and uh, but yeah, like I said, the idea is generally the same. You're trying to overwhelm them before they get to like their, exactly what their in-game strategy, they want to be. They want to be in a scenario where they have an orb, they have tri-hero, they're playing this kiting game, they're leveling the heroes, and they have statues for sustain. Destroyers, they want their full complement of their army. Tier 3 destroyers, tier 3 orb, third hero. That's where they feel comfortable. That's where they feel strong. That's where they are pretty strong, especially against mass footies. Where they're not very strong against footies at tier 1, mass footies would defend if they go fiends. And if they go DK, I think DK is pretty vulnerable to the footy mass strategy, especially if you go for a pit lord, or especially if you go for an MK, because bolt surrounds. If he wants to play that harass game, he has to make sure he doesn't get bolt surrounded, or he really he really suffers, right? So, and I think the MK has a better ultimate. I think he is actually pretty. He's a lot scarier in those little short engagements than the DK. Bolt is basically death. In terms of damage, Bolt is death coil plus stun, right? And then he's got thunderclap or bash, whichever you choose to go. I say his ultimate's better. If he gets to the ultimate, the undead will probably have 3 heroes, so he's not aiming to get the ultimate with DK. He's aiming to just have sort of 3 decently leveled heroes, and in a level 6 MK versus like a 5, 3, 1, or 2 set of undead heroes, in short battles maybe you're fine, but like in the sort of value game, generally the 3 heroes are a little bit better. Plus they can creep. If you just have 1 hero, their creeping is going to be, they get more out of creeping because you don't get really anything after level 5. So if there's creeping going on or whatever, and the MK's ultimate is good, but it's sort of above average. It's not like top tier. It's not like Infernal or Phoenix or Metamorphosis or Pando's ultimate. Or maybe Warden's ultimate. It's more down the list. It gives you magic immunity, extra damage, extra hit points. I think it gives you extra 25 damage or something. I don't know, but it doesn't give you a ranged attack like the like the Metamorphosis does, and it doesn't give you chaos damage either. So, but anyways, that's gonna be the end of this audio. Kind of a little bit of a tangent and stuff going off there. So if you watch this long, congrats, bravo, thank you. Feel free to, give it a like or comment or whatever if you want to see something specific, or you have comments, whatever. Let me know. So I'll flip through the tabs here if you want to look at that stuff just momentarily. Outmine this guy probably by 8 or 9,000 gold net. And even more than that if you ignore the upkeep, which this is the net gold mine or whatever. But anyways, that's going to be the end of this audio. ScryMind signing out.